Good now, revolutionaries, and welcome to the Rise Up Morning Show. Darn it. Feeling a little sassy today. It's Monday, September 29th. What you gonna do about it?
Someone woke up on the wrong side of the bed.
For those who don't know Evan as well as we do, when Evan says "you're so sweet to me," that's Evan's equivalent of saying "you son of a bitch."
Yeah, it's funny because I don't pick up on it at all because I'm just like, it sounds really nice.
That's
I don't
great.
know how many hours it. What's the adage, right? It takes like 10,000 hours to be an expert in something, and
Something like that. Yeah.
people who debate and argue that. Well, I would like to say that I probably have at least nearing a bachelor's degree in talking to Evan, and there are some subtle nuances that just really make it, a unique experience. Like, if none of you have ever had the privilege of hearing Evan be actually mad at somebody, it's one of the best things you can possibly imagine.
I would love to experience
it. If you're ever so fortunate as to hear Evan like talk real shit about someone, it has to be authentic.
I don't know that I've let Will see it yet. I'm very, it's not that I don't trust Will. It's not that I don't like to show it up here. It's just that I'm very intentional about how I show up and where. And I just, as a guy who constantly records himself, I never want to give anyone a reason to cancel me. So
one day we're gonna have an Evan rant, and it's gonna be like, wow.
I will tell you
the word "darn it." Damn.
For those of you wondering, it's no, he swears, but it's like in his Evan tone with his Evan attitude and his like Evan demeanor, and it's so unique.
Yeah, well,
there's nothing like it.
Well, thank you.
Don't come for me.
If you're here to see me rant and rave, sorry, but you got to get the subscription for that. The extra ultra premium subscription. Yeah, the OnlyFans. But if you've got a crypto question, if you've got something to talk about today that we can help you with, this is your place for helpful news, for commentary, for answers to your crypto questions. Hello to all of our friends, our regulars in the chat, and a special shout out to our friends in podcast land. Wherever you are, whenever you listen, we hope your candles are green. And indeed, at this very moment, the candles are a little greener than they have been, though not as green as they once were. We're seeing a bit of a recovery. Is it too early to call it a recovery after all the red we've seen? Will says
yep.
Yep. Okay, what are you calling it, Will? And
tell me why.
Well, sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe shit, and I feel like this is just a little bit of sometimes maybe good before it goes sometimes shit. But no, I mean,
that's the show. See you guys
tomorrow.
Show.
But see you later, guys. Bye. I'm out. But no, it's if we look at this from a technical analysis standpoint, and then we look at this from a market structure standpoint. And when I say market structure, I'm talking about like what makes the market the most amount of money. We've been talking about it. You guys have seen my update videos. If you do watch them, I'm not going to say anything that's new to you that I haven't already said over the past few days, right? But if we let me say this, I will be bullish if this one thing happens, and I'll share my screen real quick.
What an influencer way to say it.
Yeah,
I'll be bullish if this one thing happens.
One thing happens.
That was a hook. Right there.
Yeah, right. I'm in the social media game, ladies and gentlemen. And it's if we can get above this batch of daily exponential moving averages here. So we have the 12, the 21, and the 55. They're all right next to each other. And let's see, do I have this on my chart? I don't. Why don't I have this on my chart? Interesting. Whatever. And so basically, this is a lot of resistance right here, right in this zone. So if Bitcoin can get above this and turn what is essentially $113.3 thousand from resistance into support, if Bitcoin's price can do something like getting above all of this, turning this area into support and using it as a trampoline, if you will, to get above this line here, and then, do something kind of like this, right? That's what you want to see, because if we really simplify this, Bitcoin is in this wedge. I love trading wedges. Wedges are great. I love them. And
trading them, wearing them, rocks them.
I am a wedge. I'm trying to make my back a big Dorito wedge, in the weight room. I love wedges. And so, like, in order for this breakout to happen, this is the first major batch of resistance that we need to turn into support. But right now, it's currently acting as resistance.
I do like that you're channeling your inner Doug with your squiggles now. You're drawing legitimate squiggles.
The squiggles are fun, right? They do tickle my fancy. And so, like, that's the bullish scenario that we'd want to see. Now, I do not believe we will see that, and there's a couple of reasons why. One of which is on the futures chart. For those of you who don't know what the futures market is the futures market is from the Chicago Mercantile Exchange. It's the largest futures market in the world, and it's where people, long and short Bitcoin and have for quite some time in the traditional market. And there is a gap right here. There's a bearish gap down at $110,990, which now, not all gaps on charts get filled, right? And there's no rhyme or reason as to why it has to happen. It's just that there is a well over 95 or 90, let's see, what is it? No, it's 95% chance of gaps getting filled on Bitcoin's chart on the daily time frame. Like, there's only ever been, I think there's been 2. Is it 2 or is it 1?
I thought it was just the one you said at 90.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's just the one at $92,000 that hasn't been filled. There might have been one down at $20,000. I always have to double check it, but it's like 1 or 2, right? And there have been, I don't know, hundreds at this point. So Bitcoin's price is likely to come down and fill this gap, right? Oh God, this squiggle sucks. I hate doing it on the computer. It's so much better on the phone. So price is most likely going to come down and fill this gap. And if we do that, here's another bearish indicator. We have the daily chart stochastic RSI and the futures chart is in oversold territory. Now you might be saying, Will, I thought that's a good thing. It is a good thing. However, it's not entirely oversold. And when you get a big, like reversal in markets, something like, oh no, we're bearish, and then you go back upwards and you have a complete, kind of 180, right? You go from bearish to bullish. You need to have the future charts, daily charts, stochastic RSI, and the spot charts, stochastic RSI, aligned. And you can see right here, we just barely, ever so slightly, in oversold territory. But if we go back to the spot chart, our stochastic RSI is not in oversold territory. It actually just popped out of it. This is telling me that this stochastic RSI is going to wrap back around into oversold territory to align with the futures chart, which also has more downside to go. And this will only be caused by price turning around and breaking bearishly. If that happens, the breakout target of this wedge is actually close down to $96,000. Also, the breakout target of this diamond pattern that we have here, which is, I'm just going to do this super quickly, but it's about that. I know, terrible drawing. I don't have it on my chart right now, but the breakout of that is also about $92,000, $92,000. However, so those are all, that's a bearish indicator. If this breaks bearishly, that is also pointing at $96,000. I have my first buy zone here between $104,000 to $102,000 because that is where the 200 exponential and the 200 simple moving average lies. And the last thing I will show is over here on the liquidation heat map. And now, I'm happy to talk a little bit too about why I'm going to use the settings the way I'm going to use them.
Actually, I would like you to, because you had a really helpful write-up in our group chat the other day. And this is a topic of much contested debate. I think people would like to hear about this. So set it up for us.
Yeah, let me just see. Hang on a second. This is stuck on why do I not have the option?
You set that up, and I'll let people know this is CoinGlass.
Yeah, give me a second. Give me 1 second.
The liquidation heat map here. No problem. The liquidation heat map here. It has 3 different modes that you can toggle it to. And model 1, it will show you just extreme leverage, which means 10x and over. Model 2, it'll show you all leverage. And then you can also toggle between whether you're looking at leverage for paired assets like Bitcoin settling to US dollars on Binance's exchange, or you can just look at a symbol as a whole, like all Bitcoin. And Will, you were telling me you like to use Model 1 and you like to use the Binance Bitcoin USDT pair. Why is it you like to use that pair instead of looking at every trade on the market? Oh, Will, I seem to have lost your mic. Give it the tap.
Oh, there we go.
Yep.
So yeah, I just want to make sure everyone didn't hear my clickety clacks. So Evan mentioned, he said there were those models and there's the pair. So what he's talking about is right up here at the top of the screen. You have model 1, model 2, model 3. This is what shows super high leverage. The Model 2 shows all leverage. And honestly, I forget what Model 3 shows.
Yeah, I forget what
I
Model
looked
3
it up
is too.
before and I was like, oh, I'm never going to use that. So I just kind of disregarded Model 3, but I can't give you a reason why. Pair just shows you Binance. Symbol, and I'll show you what that looks like in just a second, shows you all of liquidations across a whole bunch of different charts. And then you have these time ranges here.
That's
and
right.
I like to use much longer time references, like the 1 month to the 6 month is what I like to use, because it shows you like the real, in my personal opinion, the real incentives in the market for like long-term price movement, right? So as Evan mentioned, I like to use Model 1 in pair. So again, in summary, that means I like to look at where the 10x and higher leveraged liquidation positions are. And I like to look at just the Binance exchange. And there's two reasons why. So I like to look at just the high leverage and not the total leverage across all markets. Hang on, let me put this back. No, it's fine. I'll put it back at 6 months. Yeah. Because in my mind, you can have manipulation of this chart here. You can have market makers and very, very, very large whales have certain spots be really bright by having huge leverage positions that liquidate lower down and make markets who look at this go, oh my God, the price has to go here because look at how much money, Binance or all these exchanges could make. But the thing is they're not going to be willing to really lose that money. So they won't you do that on a very high leverage position, just in case there's a wick that goes further past than their expectations. Market makers aren't in the business of putting their money at risk and losing money. So I do not believe that they would use anything higher than 10x leverage or 10x or more. So in order to get rid of that potential manipulation, I use Model 1 instead of Model 2, which just shows the type of leverage that retail is most likely to use, which is 10x, 25x, 50x, 100x. And so I think this is a much bigger representation of the positions, or a much better representation of the positions that are likely to actually get liquidated and are being targeted by market makers. Now, so take that there. I like to use pair over symbol, and pair just shows where the liquidations are on Binance, where symbol shows, a whole bunch of different exchanges. And I think this is better to look at just at Binance because Binance is the leader in the space. And in the traditional financial market, we don't look at all of the gaps that exist on every single market's futures chart. We don't look at all of the leveraged positions across all markets. We just look at the Chicago Mercantile Exchange because it's the largest futures trading market in the world. It leads that market. You don't look at anything else. I mean, you can, but it's a mistake in my personal opinion. I am Spartacus. Well, you're a loser. And so it's like, well, then why would we do something different in the cryptocurrency market, right? Why would I look at all of this noise when I'm trying to find signal? And Binance is the largest options and margin market in the entire cryptocurrency industry in terms of centralized exchanges. So I want to look at Binance for the same reason as in the traditional world. I want to look at the Chicago Mercantile Exchange because the Chicago Mercantile Exchange and Binance have the most amount of influence in how the market actually drives. And if it's telling me that Binance stops making money at this point, but the rest of the market makes more money, Binance will start turning that ship around when they've made their money. They don't give a fuck about the other exchanges, right? They're in it for themselves. So they're going to start turning that ship around because they're the biggest ship here. They can really have a big impact, right? So that's why I use pair, and that's why I use Model 1. And we had some interesting conversation and debates between ourselves and a few other folks in the space about, what to use and why. And this is where I have firmly landed after chewing on that conversation a little bit and coming to my conclusion. So that's why I think Model 1 and pair is the best.
Now, Will, we do have a couple of follow-up questions. And for one of them, I wonder, is it possible for you to use your mouse or spreader and just zoom in real big on this map so I can see like on your screen? I'd like to see that heat map up nice and close. So for folks who have never seen this before, again, if you want to play along at home, CoinGlass hosts this chart. Google CoinGlass liquidation heat map, and you can see at the left, or if you're in podcast land, you just got to take it on faith, that they've got a lot of different metrics visualized here that you can click between. It looks a little different if you're on mobile, I think the Max Payne one is interesting. I think that some of the volume metrics are interesting, but this one is called Liquidation Heatmap. You'll see they also have one just for Hyperliquid, which is, I think, also noteworthy depending on the kind of trader you are. Now, how to read this chart. It looks like a standard candle chart in the sense that you've got green and red candles at a particular price on the right-hand side of the chart. So as the candles go up and down, that is indicating the price of Bitcoin. On the bottom of the chart from left to right, we're showing the date. But this chart has one extra feature. They call it the heat map because it has these blue to bright zones, dark to light, horizontal bars overlaid on the chart that represent, depending on the time frame, pockets of liquidity, meaning long or short orders that if the price moves to those levels could be liquidated. The brighter the line is, the more concentrated the liquidity is, the more money the market makers who win when someone gets liquidated stand to make if the price moves to that direction. And if you're a big old whale seeking food, you can move the price wherever you want it to go. So you're going to move it where the most food sits. You can look on the left of the chart to see exactly how much money they stand to gain at the brightest spots. And you can look up and down the chart just to see where on this particular time frame the brightest spots are. Will is highlighting one here for us. You were going to say something, Will?
Yeah, I was going to say, like, if you have ever gone fishing, it's kind of like having a fish radar that shows you where the most amount of fish are. And so, yeah, fish finder. And so, like, if you are the whale, or in this case, the fisherman, you're going to go and get your fish where the fish are. And in this case, it's liquidations.
Correct.
And so
that was beautiful.
Thank you. Roger. And so, like, the brightest part of the screen right here is, down at $106,747. So basically $107,000. And right at that price point, there's $530.88 million that would be liquidated of these high leverage positions. So the market is very financially incentivized to head down here. But also, there's money to make along the way. Basically $111,000 has $178 million of liquidations just below that. Now there's another basically $300 million, another below that, another $400 million. If you just kind of take your cursor and just kind of move down slowly, you can see that there's the most amount of money between 107 to 106.5, right? There's about $1 billion just right there in that zone of about $1,000 of price action for Bitcoin. There's $1 billion of liquidations just on Binance. And Binance makes a lot of money from that. The market makers make a bunch of money from that because liquidations force trades to happen, large trades. Those are larger trading fees. And also Binance gets to go and take your collateral and put it into their insurance slush fund, which helps make them money and reduce their risk and make sure they can keep doing business and provide liquid markets. And so this is that last bearish thing I wanted to show everybody, which is the market makes the most amount of money if we go down, potentially even as far as $103.4 thousand. But then you can see this abyss, this really dark area on the screen. Once we hit about $103,000, there is about $5,000 worth of Bitcoin's price action to the downside, where Binance doesn't make any money. Like, the market has to really slam down to $97,000 or even $92,000. And so this could very likely be the point right at $103,000 where Binance goes, okay, we got the biggest payday. And as you can look at this screen, the next biggest payday, yeah, there's some down here at $92,000, but it's back up here at $120,000. So once Bitcoin's price hits $103,000, the largest player in the space is financially incentivized, more so to start whipping that wheel around and turning us back to the bull side up towards $120,000, right? Now, maybe price slams back down and we get the rest of this liquidity down lower. Maybe that happens. But once we hit $103,000, you're going to see bearish momentum start slowing down. That's what this chart is telling us. Okay.
Yeah. My counterpoint to Will, as we were talking about it with our friends, was this abyss is smaller than if there's no extra liquidity that piles in, the much larger abyss up to $120,000. But another of our friends made the counterpoint, what is a better incentive to draw retail traders into the market than driving the price up. The price is the best billboard. And so as they head for that liquidity at $120,000, more and more people are going to pie in. These guys don't care which direction the market moves. They just want to make the most amount of money.
Yep. And so they'll drive the market lower for a certain period of time, but eventually they go, hey, we need to drive new liquidity into this market. And the best way to do that is to make sure the market goes up. And then more people jump in, and then there's more trading fees, and then there are higher liquidation pools, and then they liquidate those, and bada bing, bada boom. That's why markets go up more so than they go down.
So I have a really good follow-up question here that I'd love to ask you guys from. It's me, your dad. Hey, Dad.
Hi, Dad.
Good to talk to you again. Who wants to know if Binance manipulates to grab leverage, and that's bad. Why don't U.S. regulators, Larry Fink, other big institutional players step in? And my answer was going to be, well, they're kind of on the same team.
Yeah, they're on the same. They're on the same team. They're doing the exact same thing. The same thing happens in financial markets. Mm-hmm. It's the same game, same players. I mean, different players. This is Binance, and then you have traditional finance, right? But it's the same personality type. It's the same. It's the market makers. It's the same people playing the same game. This is exactly the same as traditional financial markets.
Yeah, and
there's no difference.
The additional question comes: how impactful is this? Has this been in cycles past, or is this just a modern issue? Meaning, like in the last 3 or 4 years, that we are looking for liquidations. And I would say it's always been impactful, but there have been less participants, less liquidity, there's less money in the market. So, and there's also more data than there's ever been. So I would argue that a metric like this is probably more impactful than ever, though it has always been a relevant thing to look at.
Yeah, I mean, like it's their business model. The business model of centralized exchanges and market makers are this. So it's as long as there have been centralized exchanges, this type of thing has mattered. As long as there have been margin trading and leverage in the cryptocurrency market, this has mattered. So like, you know, from day one, it's how they make money, and they're a business and they're here to make money. So like, yeah. That's it. Day one, baby.
Day one, baby.
It's just that, to your point, Evan, the liquidation zones are getting bigger and bigger and bigger, but the incentive is still there. It's not like that's changed anything. It's just that now the money sizes are larger. So the market makers and the exchanges are just making more money.
Right. The same way that institutions are starting to pay attention to crypto because they realize there's serious money or serious potential for business here, market makers are going to, you know, just be more active, or there might become more of them. Mm-hmm. Now, Alex, I've been watching you have an exchange in the comments. It seems like we might have a new token to sniff. Is that right?
Yeah, it sounds like it. It's one I've never heard of before.
Absolutely love it when that happens.
But could pull something up. We could wine bottle it if we wanted. Just didn't want to derail the conversation. You know, I was just gonna add before we shift topics that as we've been having these kind of group chats more, where we're hearing and talking about more of these like, I don't know, listening to Will yap with more market analysts, and you guys are, you know, getting super technical with all this. And as I am just like not involved in that at all, I've been trying to dig deeper into like just what's happening on chain, where to where, you know, where's money moving from where to where, all that sort of stuff. Sure. And I'm just noticing that like through all of this, there is almost no change to like the humdrum of the on-chain economy. It doesn't give a single shit. Like this is one of the things informing my currently bullish thesis. And again, this is long-term. I have no clue what's going to happen in the short term. That's not why anyone talks to me. But like overall, it seems incredibly confidence inspiring, like for the space as a whole, that we are seeing relatively major updates and upgrades constantly rolling out for like bigger and bigger names in the DeFi space that more and more people have heard of. I mean, Compound added like 50 things to their protocol in the last couple of weeks. Wow. Just like, I mean, you know, little itty bitty features that just quality of life improvements, like all this kind of stuff. And they're not the only ones. And then, you know, the amount of transacting happening on chain, especially in the stablecoin world, is exclusively growing. It's kind of wild to watch. I mean, just we're like setting new records for transactions in one day, just as more things get onboarded. And it's interesting to me that like price is not dramatically reacting to that. Whereas I think that had we seen headlines like that in years past, we would have seen more. But it's just a mark of like how much more stuff is kind of happening, you know, in the on-chain world. And it kind of makes me think like this is becoming a little bit more of a regular thing, wherein like, yeah, okay, it's all working. It's not like incredible news anymore that these things work, right? Like it's becoming more newsworthy that like major policy decisions or advancements are opening the door to something new, or that some new protocol has instituted some new thing and they're stealing liquidity from this thing. But it's not so much this just like, hey, look, here's a thing, and guess what, guys, it works. Which used to be pretty much all of crypto news, you know, 5 years ago. So I just wanted to point that out. I think it's interesting that, I mean, and I'm talking about like Solana and Ethereum primarily are just like consistently setting records for transactions in one day, for, you know, addresses, which again, the addresses thing you kind of take with a grain of salt. You know, in a vacuum, that doesn't really mean as much. A lot of those addresses are like 15-minute addresses that go away afterwards. They, you know, they pop out to do a thing and they disappear. So that's kind of misleading. But anyway, I just want to toss that in, like, as we kind of sit in a, I don't know, like a world of indecision as far as price, you know, like Will says, maybe good, maybe shit. On-chain doesn't care. And it's just like, they're just doing stuff. I've been, I moved some more USDC over to DeFi Carrot. Thing's killing it. It's, you know, I don't know. I don't know. It's the best like results I've seen from a USDC park, like for me to put some before. And at this point, I'm consolidating from different protocols over to that one because the rate's better and it works. It works better.
Yeah, I'll be using DeFi Carrot.
Yeah,
for sure. I just haven't moved stuff yet. Yeah, not sponsored, and also wouldn't have found out about it as quickly as we did if not for the white whale. So thanks, dude.
Yeah.
And speaking of the white whale, seems like a good time to tell you that our show is indeed powered by a partnership with the white whale. Solom in the comments said we need a word of wisdom from the white whale, and I have got a special announcement for you, which is to say,
take it.
Stay tuned because I am going to announce an announcement later. It's not really an announcement, but we're working on a custom
the teaser for the announcement of the announcement, because
yeah, it is, baby.
We're devolving. That's awful.
I am a big fan of this.
I am working on a custom bumper for the white whale because I said to them, you know, one of the things we'd like to do is share some of your posts, but it'd be great to have some exclusive posts just for our audience, like a word from the white whale. And I think the segment is going to be called From the Depths. So stay tuned. You will have a custom bumper. We will introduce it to you shortly, and you will get more words of wisdom. And in the meantime, if you want more from the white whale, or you don't know who the white whale is, you should check them out at The White Whale HL on TikTok and on X. They're trying to grow their TikTok following, and they have successfully amassed, where is it now? They're up to 35,000 followers on X. Way to go, the white whale. Not only a whale in size of trades, but a whale in followers, and it's very well earned. They've been posting about the state of marketing in Web3, about the honesty of market makers.
Yep.
I knew you would, and it's just the kind of perspective that you don't get to hear very often. So I really would encourage you to check them out, give them a follow. No, paid shills, nothing like that. He's paying us to talk about what he does, and so nobody needs to pay the whale. But we appreciate what the whale does for our space. So thank you, and shout out to the white whale. And I was going to say, just on the revenue talk, since I know you're sniffing this token, Alex, if people want a good source for where you can hear this kind of conversation, I'm always telling people you need to get better primary sources. If you're hearing about a token for the first time on TikTok or on X, you're probably exit liquidity for somebody else who maybe even has been paid to talk about it. You want to hear directly from the people who are building these protocols. You want to be looking at on-chain metrics like Alex. You want to be looking at primary sources like Will. And one of my favorite primary sources for people who are not like chart readers, or even if you are, is the Unchained podcast. Laura Shin, who's on the screen here, has the timeliest guests and topics. And they just recently had Lily Liu, who's the president of the Solana Foundation, in an episode where she makes the case that revenue, not total value locked, which we see a lot about, is the most meaningful on-chain metric. And who else is saying that all the
making
time?
money is important. What?
Yeah,
You don't say.
Exactly.
This is a gross misrepresentation.
It's sad that that's a hot take.
Yeah. So check that out. It's a great show. I listen to it all the time because it is putting me in touch with people that then I will go follow on Twitter. And wouldn't you rather hear from the president of the Solana Foundation instead of like crypto rules 1, 2, 3 on TikTok? You know what I mean? Like,
I prefer crypto bro Lambo. If you sell, you're a loser on Twitter.
you're a loser.
That's
You're a
because
loser.
that's Will's alter ego.
Yeah, baby. Speaking of alter egos, and I'm thinking of the reverse Watson, which please reverse Watson, inverse Watson, come back,
Pump
back,
my
inverse
bags,
Watson.
baby.
For the love of
I saw you
God.
trying to manifest the reverse Watson.
I really tried to manifest the inverse Watson on Twitter. I was like, come on. I was like, it's gonna fall. Inverse Watson, come on, baby. Come on, it's gonna fall.
He's
Come on,
shy,
inverse
Will.
Watson.
You can't shine the light at the inverse Watson or he won't come out.
I know, but I shined the light. I was the first one. I created the light for inverse Watson, you know. But speaking of this, I'm gonna share some horrible news with everybody. Jim Cramer just put out a tweet an hour ago that said buy crypto. So you know
Damn
we're all
it.
totally
Damn it, Jim.
Here it is. I'll show you everybody here on the
cannot
Tiki
believe
Taki.
this.
Oh, come on.
At this
So
point,
here
I
it
want
is.
to know who's paying Jim.
Jim Cramer buy crypto, and it's a picture of the national debt. So like he's not wrong, but at the same time, Jim, come on, man. Come on, bro.
I absolutely can't believe
You know,
You're total grifters.
speaking of Jim Cramer, Evan, as often as we talk about needing to get you a soundboard, you know, like to
big one.
rival the big one.
Yes.
The only thing I could think while Will was now like trying to add squiggles to the thing is that we really need to get Will a whiteboard, like a digital whiteboard set up like Steve Kornacki, and have him do,
I have two whiteboards right here, but you're
you
right.
know, like election night style analysis where he gets to, you know, get all Charlie Day and Always Sunny crazy and like,
yeah.
drawing all of his squiggles all over the
Yep.
place and sticking sticky notes up, but like a big, that's got to be a thing, right? That we could,
Yep.
someone help me out here, that you could like put a big whiteboard like in Will's office that would go to the screen so that when he draws on this, it draws on, that's got to be a thing,
I think
right?
it's a tablet
Yeah.
screen share.
It is a tablet screen
I
share.
already am on it. Will, we're absolutely getting you one because I am gonna need you to draw a smiley face
Yeah.
for the vibes. And honestly, you know who else needs one is Doug.
I know,
Doug needs
he's
one.
here right now saying we're speaking to his setup that we haven't seen. Doug, if you have one, hook me up, dude.
Yeah, dude,
Yeah,
tell us,
seriously.
man, because that shit is awesome.
Fire.
I had a lot of fun
Alex,
with that.
you got a token that we were gonna sniff like 20
Yes.
minutes ago.
Oh yeah, right. Forgot
we
about
went
that.
down about a million rabbit holes. So what?
So
what are we looking at?
The TLDR, the nutshell on this thing is that it's a
What is it?
HealthFi. It's a HealthFi thing. So
get a screen share?
This appears to be, sorry, wrong computer. That's what I got to do. We got to fit another pin. Evan, I'm sure
Yeah,
this is also a
yeah.
thing, but somewhere where I can like connect. Oh, actually, I think I know how to do that. I'll do it later so I don't derail the show. But I think we can do that where I can just be in here from two different devices and I can screen share from the big one and be much easier than. Anyway,
Our show is. I said to Alex the other day. I said people are not even going to recognize our show in the new
No.
year when we get all the lights and the sound. I found from our
In
friend
the
shout
new
out-
year, I'm about to have it in like a week, baby.
yeah, dude.
Right,
it's
but
this
shout out
Thursday.
Yaboyski. He got me this this hookup to this Stream Deck that's got like 60 buttons on it. Man,
Oh yeah.
we're moving on up. Okay,
Yeah.
screen share it. What even is this token, Alex?
So, had never heard of it, but the ecosystem is called Dynachain, which I am. Okay, here we go. So let me toss this up. Stall.
Oh,
Hello, my honey. Hello, my darling. I'm a ragtime doll.
Perfect. Thank you, Will.
Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun.
So
I like to sing about the
interesting.
moona and the Juna and the Springa. I like to sing and then the sky. I forget the next lyric.
well, the magic of stalling is that when I'm done, you don't have to keep going.
She's a brick.
House.
She's mathematic. Just letting it all hang out.
I'm sorry.
She's
It's
a
my fault,
brick.
guys.
House.
That one's my fault. I'm sorry. I brought that one on all
Yeah,
of us.
you did. You did, baby. I got more.
Okay. So I've got on the other one, I've got their like beefy white paper, which is more of just like a giant PowerPoint. White papers are really just morphing into full scale pitch decks because who's got the time to read a white paper?
They look
anymore?
better.
White papers are so 2018.
Who needs information? Nah.
We don't need that anymore. Well, we can't read, so
Merchandising. We can't read.
we can't read. Welcome to the Rise Up Morning Show.
We should have a shirt that says like "Rise Up." We can't read.
The people in podcast land are just like, we can't even see you guys. What the hell are you talking
What's
about?
happening?
I'm sorry.
Anyway, so
we need
Dynachain.
some sort of like consolation prize to podcast land because they're the real MVPs. They deal with a lot.
They do. We're sorry.
Okay, so HealthFi, right? We've talked about this actually quite a bit. Not this project specifically, but just like this application in general. And actually, what's interesting is that so far, as I'm skimming this, I don't really see anything ZK, which kind of makes me think, why not? Because I don't know. I feel like that's kind of an integral piece of this whole thing, right? Like, if you think about, from a 30,000 foot view here, if we're putting anything health related on chain, and we're not talking about DCAI, this idea of like decentralizing fundraising for scientific endeavors and research, which, cute idea, but just awful in every application that I've ever seen. Doesn't work. Privacy, kind of a cornerstone of this whole space. So I'm always curious about what their plans are for that, because if you think about like, all open source everything plus medical records without a distinct privacy angle, I'm unsure. Anyway, so I guess this thing is maybe in the news because there's two tokens. It looks like there's the original Dyna, which seems to be like the main ecosystem token, and then this DCAI, which is just a new token, something, I don't know, slap AI into the whole thing and give it a token. And then also, a big data integration as it, draws data or, quote unquote, partners with Apple Health, Google Fit, Garmin, and some others. And then the goal here seems to be that you can earn these tokens through completing healthy activities and then sharing wellness data. So I don't know. I feel like it's kind of an amalgam of different things that we've seen before, like the kind of Steppen thing, plus, some other like tokenized rewards for sharing data.
Yeah.
This is one of those things that like, I like the concept in theory, right? The idea that you can tokenize some sort of a reward structure to incentivize someone to do a thing. You can accumulate more of the thing and you can reward people for doing the thing with the token. But in practice, it just doesn't work because we keep looking at these tokens exclusively as investments. And rather than exclusively like earning the token to then do a thing on the platform, they just attract farmers to farm the thing for a bit. There's usually some sort of price pump and then a crater, and then it loses all interest because it's not actually a thing that anyone's really interested in. And this is kind of my problem with projects that add work for people, right? If you think about the nature of inventing stuff and innovation, there is one central theme that is almost always present. And if it's not present, then I think you're in trouble. And that's increasing convenience. I challenge anyone to name me an invention that made something harder that was successful. And that's one of the biggest things that blockchain struggles with, is that typically what it does is it makes something more complicated. It makes it require more time. And the payoff has not been worth it. If you do something that is challenging, the payoff has to be worth it. Otherwise, who's got the time?
Yeah.
Right. So if the payoff is some crappy token that nobody actually cares about, that nobody really needs because we created it and gave it to people before there was a demand for it, I'm bearish. So,
but it's the future of money.
I know it's the future of money.
I know it's the, but it's the future of money.
I don't know. So unfortunately, my first take on this kind of thing, not to put this particular project down for any specific reason, I just don't see this structure working typically. And so I think it's going to struggle, especially now.
They've got 18.8K followers on Twitter. They've got, the DCAI specifically has 4,000 followers, and their headline is DCAI is a decentralized infrastructure token. powering AI computation, storage, and staking rewards across the Web3 ecosystem. How many times have you seen that exact pitch, like you just said, Alex, with 100,000 other tokens, right?
We're a buzzword, supporting a buzzword, doing a buzzword, and another buzzword.
It would be meaningful if they had users and revenue first, and then they launched a token. Almost all of these companies kill themselves by creating an incentive bind, where the only incentive before you have users is to buy the token, get the token, speculate on the token, and then because it's volatile and you can't use it to do anything else, you sell it to make money. That is it. All the tweets about both of these projects are about partnerships or about you know, it's back, who's this, who's that. It looks like a lot of paid advertising or a lot of, like, you know, designed to sell a token advertising, listing on this site, listing on this site. I don't see anybody saying like, just got my, you know, health ring or whatever, you know.
See, that would be the only way. If you had a product like that existed, that enough people were users of, that benefited from the platform, that then added some sort of tokenized reward. But even then, unless it was like the native ecosystem token, like if it was a project built on Avalanche that rewarded you in like AVAX drip or USDC on AVAX, then bullish. Anything else, not a fan. How long do we think Will can keep this going?
Synergy.
There it is.
We had so many comments that said William is frozen, William is frozen, William is frozen.
I was just waiting to be like, synergy. Ooh. Big data.
Evan,
AI,
were you? This might have been a
learning,
conference that Mac and I did together, but
Web3.
it was a Consensys several years ago, and we like walked past this one booth that you could not tell what the project was called. It was just like this kind of black canvas with these multicolored bubbles on them, and every bubble had a different buzzword in it, and it was so bad I thought it was a joke. And so we were standing there taking pictures of it because it was like so stupid. I thought it was a meme, like making fun of the whole buzzword thing. No, it was a real project, and it was just like a bubble that said gaming, and a bubble that said AI, and a bubble that said you know, smart contracts, and a bubble that said layer 1, and a bubble that said scalable.
Did they have metaverse?
Yes, because this was long enough
hell
ago
yeah.
to actually put that on something. This is like
Beautiful.
2022. Yeah, it was
Beautiful. Love it. Hate it.
Permanently bearish.
It's hilarious.
I am absolutely gonna throw myself out a window.
I don't know how to sell this thing.
We have a couple good follow-up questions about this. So folks are saying, Wall Street says, hey, won't it be great when we can use blockchain for medical records? This is why it's a great application. It's me. Your dad had a follow-up that said it's going to be a long time before blockchains implement the privacy protocols that make them ready for medical records. And I am Ray Todd said, isn't HBAR good for medical records? And I just want to let you know that we've got the technology right now. What we need are models for it. HBAR could be a blockchain where people build a good example of this. One, because it's EVM compatible. So they've got all the same smart contract standards that Ethereum does. Two, it's permissioned, meaning Google and Oracle and their friends who allow you, if you're a company, to start a validator or not, build a project or not, they are going to want to keep it closed and permission and controlled. So hospitals, et cetera, will like that because they don't really want you looking around and poking around and playing in their blockchain playground. But they could also use someplace like Ethereum, where, you know, the smart contracts are originated, which can also support closed or permissioned infrastructure. But then they're going to want to use some sort of privacy enhancing and preserving cryptography, like a zero knowledge proof, like some kind of roll up. We've talked about this in a lot of different episodes with a lot of different friends, but that's the takeaway. Is it possible? Totally. And in novel ways on blockchain. They probably will use it someday, but Will, you know, this is one I'd kick to you. How likely is it that any of the companies that you've partnered with, there's a new SaaS product and you can be the very first one to test it? It's novel. Nobody's tried it before. It's going to give you a big advantage, but it's a little risky. Are any of the huge companies that you partner with going to take a chance on like a nascent technology until it's absolutely perfect?
So let me provide context in case anybody doesn't know. I have been working in corporate America for just over a decade now. A decade.
He is actually Mr. Corporate.
I am actually Mr. Corporate, Mr. Business.
Yes, Mr. Business.
Fun fact:
like the heat miser, but for dollars.
once about, I'd say every other month, I would have a day where I would fly to New York for lunch, to then fly to Chicago for dinner, to then wake up in the morning and fly to DC for a lunch again, to then fly back home to Boston for like my meetings and stuff. And that was normal.
You're so business.
I would be in 4 or 3 states every other week, and I'd have 1 week be no travel. And that year, that was 2019 before COVID, I was flying around for so much work that I was in Boston, where I pay rent less than 30% of the year. And so anyway, so I was in AI machine learning software sales for 7 years. I worked with healthcare companies. In fact, I worked with the government of Canada, fun fact. And I also worked with the Toronto Stock Exchange. I worked with Morgan Stanley. I worked with a number of financial institutions. I worked with CPG companies, retail, manufacturing. And now for the past 3 years, I've been a supply chain consultant for some of the largest supply chain organizations in the world. I work almost exclusively with IT, I'd say like 70% of the time. And then the other 30% are the actual business side, operations, sales, marketing, all that kind of stuff. So this is why Evan asked me this question. Untested software, never, ever, unless you have really strong connections with like the C-level, like you're a CIO and your boy creates, who's been supporting you from a technology standpoint for 10 years, creates their own company and they have this amazing product and whatever, and then they put it in like a test environment and they see how it does for a few years. Like that's what you do. Or if you're a Morgan Stanley, these huge financial companies have these things in their IT departments called Center of Excellences, which are just basically places where they run science experiments, and they'll buy everything and then they play around with it and then they just build it themselves.
Yeah, right.
Unless they can't, right? That's just how it goes. Because
a lot of partnerships work that way in blockchain.
Yeah, these major companies, very rarely do they make big changes to their business using new software because it's too risky, because it adds too much risk to their job security. No one gets, there's a saying, and it's been a saying since the 80s, no one got fired for buying IBM. And even though there was a better product out there, didn't matter. You bought IBM because if something went wrong with IBM, that was the safe choice and you still held your job. Because like, something went wrong with IBM. Oh, that's crazy. Who could have foreseen that? But if you bought something new and something went wrong there, that's not the company's fault. That's your fault and you're fired. You know? And so that's how the business world works.
Yeah. Thank you. So yeah. I don't think that this is likely to happen until 2 or 3 people try it and break it first. Then it's battle tested, and then we'll start to see it roll out. But we got the technology right now, and if you're an enterprising founder or you want to build something cool, then ZK is a great field to work in.
I was going to say I still think, like, given all this, probably the best place is Ethereum. Surprise.
Yeah.
And probably the best way is zero knowledge.
Yeah, if somebody was going to pay me $1 million if I could figure out how to build this for them, I'd say, great, here's who I'm going to introduce you to. And pretty much all of them would be in Ethereum or Ethereum layer 2 places.
Yeah, it would be a series of math PhDs and a bunch of Solidity developers. Experience with ZK.
I would love to answer a question here from another direction. Do you have any final thoughts on adopting privacy for healthcare and that kind of thing? Nope. Okay. Sorry.
I was distracted because I saw a headline and I was like, what is this? So the FTX payouts are beginning. Anyway, so I can talk about that in a second. Okay. Hit me with a question.
No, hit that. I said going, but it's funny. Yesterday I was in a community call for Pizza DAO, our friends over there. I was telling them about our Octant Epoch 9 selection. The absolute tastiest DAO, and helping them organize a couple things. And one of the things they say in their like moving it along in the meeting is they'll say, anybody else going, they say going once, going twice, sold the last slice. And I just absolutely love that.
Nice. That's fun.
So Will, can I just very quickly answer this question about Bitcoin loans and then I'll come to you for FTX?
Yes.
Okay. The question from Apple user, hey, we hope you're well, is can you talk about how to secure a Bitcoin loan on platforms like Strike? And I just wanted to let folks know that if you didn't know, now you don't have to sell your Bitcoin to get value from it. On several platforms, Strike, Ledn, spelled Ledn, on Coinbase, and Unchained, not Unchained Crypto, the podcast, but Unchained, the Bitcoin loan provider, you can, in fact, get loans on your Bitcoin. And rates vary. And I would say compared to other crypto loans you can get from a provider like this, they're high. These guys have had to jump through a lot of hoops to offer what looks more like a, sort of TradFi product. And I would encourage you to go to their website to learn more about this. But since you asked about Strike specifically, let me give you the facts. If you want to get a loan from Strike, they've got fixed tier APR, meaning the interest you pay to get a loan, depending on your size. It starts at 9.5%. So you would pay back the money and an extra 9.5% on top, up to 12%. The bigger the loan is, the lower the interest rate. It is a loan to value rate of 50%, meaning if you put up $100,000 of collateral, you can get $50,000 in a loan, okay? And it's a minimum $10,000. There are no maximums, which is a reason you might choose to use Strike over another provider. The loans are 12-month loans. You pay interest monthly or at maturity. And then it's just cash from Strike. Like they send it to your Strike account. You can take it out via an ACH to your bank. The Bitcoin collateral sits in your Strike account and they send it back to you one business day after the loan is closed. But you have to send the Bitcoin to them. They custody it for you. There's no external custodian. And there's a 0% origination fee. Some people make you pay a fee to originate a loan with them. Some people will give you some money back if you repay it early. Strike doesn't do any of that. And you have to live in a supported U.S. state to do it. So double check their terms and conditions. And that's the same for all of this. I won't go into the others because I've made a lot of videos about it recently. We talked about it a couple of episodes ago. I feel like we talked about Coinbase and Ledin, some of the other loan products. I do want to shout out, though, our friends at DeFi Carrot and just say the crypto native way to do a loan would be to go to a borrowing platform like Aave, like Curve Compound, like Morpho, or like DeFi Carrot, and you would get some sort of asset that you are exchanging for other assets. You put up collateral on their platform and you can take out a loan against it by getting a liquid staked token. For example, when I go stake my Ether token on Lido, they get my Ethereum tokens and they give me liquid staked ETH, which is worth exactly the same amount as my Ether. It's a 1-to-1 rate. So it's not this like I give them 100,000, they give me 50%. No, it's like I give them an ETH and they give me essentially an ETH. And then I could sell it, go buy gold. I could turn it into cash in my bank. I could do anything I want with it. That's the crypto native way to get a loan like this. These products are specifically targeting Bitcoin users, a definite need in the market. And they are specifically making it easier for traditional financial structures and loan providers to get in on the action and get their piece of a pie. Do you guys have any thoughts to add about that, especially along the lines of like extra DeFi savvy loans beyond the options that I mentioned on, Aave or Morpho or something like that, or other things to think about that would make you a good or bad candidate for a Bitcoin or crypto loan? Going once?
I mean, not really. I think that that was an excellent overview.
Thank you.
I think to me,
I am a professional fake radio host.
You are very good at hosting your fake radio show.
You're damn right it is.
I don't know. I don't think I certainly don't have anything to add in the way of explanation. Just like a point of commiseration, rather that this part of the industry is extremely exciting to me, just because as someone who very recently went through like a major loan process and like it was awful. I yearn for a time when it's more commonplace for me to be able to, shop different options that include like a centralized financial option and a decentralized financial option. You know what I mean? Like we've been bandying about ideas for, replacing classic traditional insurance structures with decentralized insurance structures, the same way that I would say you could do this with a major loan. Whether you're taking out a loan to I don't know, just tide you over for a week based on, some assets that you have that you would rather not sell, or you're doing something major, like buying a mortgage. I really want to see more of those options wherein, we can all like collectively work towards like a better suite of products. Like I don't think it's far off to say that, someone was asking in the comments, what do you think the crypto space could look like in 2026 and beyond, given the way that regulation is shaping up and the way that we're starting to see, rules either removed or added or clarification added, yada yada, whatever. I feel like, give it 5 years, maybe, between certainly in the next decade, I would think companies like Aave or like Curve or Compound or, some of these other, huge, Morpho, I don't see why not. Actually, probably Morpho even more likely, just given their proximity to more, traditional financial companies and stuff, to like offer mortgage services wherein you can, prove via smart contract that you have the ability to make a certain amount of payments or, whatever, the same way that you would do, like an on-chain credit check could look very different than the way that it looks traditionally. But I don't know. I feel like, and maybe 10 years is generous. I don't think, maybe we're not even that far off, but like I look forward to seeing at first crappy options for that and then better and better and better options to where it becomes like a real thing.
I agree.
Mother son of a god. Anyway, I think we see options like that start to show up before midterm elections.
I do too. Someone asked about how regulation is going to play out in crypto, and I think that's one of the things we'll start to see soon.
I think
more crypto-friendly products in more places.
From
Clarity.
The end of 2025 through all of 2026, at least November, you are going to see a crap ton of advancements of DeFi services being offered by traditional financial organizations.
But will New York finally get staking?
Nope, fuck you.
Oh,
absolutely not.
Man.
Absolutely not. Unless you're a Mets fan. Then you can.
Okay, before we pass it over for FTX, because this is a good regulatory thing, we do have breaking news. Shout out and big time thank you for the update in the comments. I'm searching to King Crypto, who said, seeing on X that Swift is using Consensys. And indeed, it is confirmed that Swift just announced, the payment transfer service, just announced it will work with Consensys, the Ethereum powerhouse, to create a ledger prototype, which will be tested by different countries, 30 plus banks, and with different currencies.
And you know what's about to be said. What's about to be said.
Say it, man.
Hold on. I'm bathing in the moment.
I'm bathing in it. XRP has no use case.
Swift is doing crypto stuff, and I'm sorry. Who did they pick? What was that? What was the name of that blockchain again?
The name of that blockchain was Ethereum.
Ethereum?
I'm sorry.
Wow, crazy.
No,
Whoa.
Evan, that can't be right. Evan, that just simply cannot be.
Did you not see all the videos on XRP?
Brad Garlinghouse said they were going to take 14% of Swift shares, so maybe they're going to compete with Swift and Ethereum. I don't know, man. Could be it, man.
Oh, I gotta write this down for a video to make that's gonna rage bait the entirety of crypto TikTok.
Yeah, it says their official announcement that they have already kicked off work with a group of more than 30 financial institutions, which, to be fair, a lot of blockchains have partnered with a lot of financial institutions in the past to explore maybe how this would work, maybe to study in order to build their own thing. But it does say to design and build the ledger, focused on a first use case of real-time 24/7 cross-border payments, starting with a conceptual prototype by Consensys.
It's almost like we've been saying this for years. Also, remember they have a partnership with Chainlink too. So,
and do you want to hear the do you want to hear the partners that are people who've already built stuff on ETH? I mean, a lot of these. I don't know that all of these are, but a lot of these are partners who've already built stuff on ETH. I'll start with those first: Santander, Banco, Bank of America, Citibank, Commerzbank, Deutsche Bank,
right.
Emirates Bank, First Rand Bank, Unibanco, JP Morgan, Chase, Mizuho, National West, Wells Fargo, Westpac, Saudi Awal Bank, Societe Generale, the Standard Chartered, TD Bank. I mean, the Royal Bank of Canada. We're hitting the heavy hitters of people who have already built their blockchains in closed environments on Ethereum. So
did they not get the memo? Or what happened here?
I don't know, man.
Because I'm confused.
I don't know. I wonder if XRP has reacted at all.
This really truly feels like the moment in Parks and Rec where the end of the world didn't come and they go back to Leslie Knope's office to reschedule their end of the world party. It's like, I've actually been going back over the texts and it turns out that my math was wrong. And it's actually next May.
Mm-hmm.
And do you know who else I think is a big winner in this?
Hmm.
I'm
Our Lord
gonna
and
go out there
Savior
and
Jesus
say,
Christ.
well, of course, obviously,
Duh.
Chainlink. Chainlink is a big
Oh,
winner
yeah.
in this because
Chainlink's a huge winner.
every one of these people who builds a different protocol somewhere on chain, who's going to be the oracle that connects them? It's probably
Who are you gonna call? Chainlink.
Oh, I like
Yeah,
Chainlink.
well,
Chainlink.
this is exactly the note that I really needed to start my week off right. And man, that added a year to my life. You know what?
Yeah.
For all the things
Yeah.
that remove time,
Ah.
this gave me a little bit back.
Yeah,
for
I mean, the
that,
market's going to go
thank you.
down, so that euro will then get removed immediately. But, you know, it's nice. You
true.
got that buffer.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah. Sorry, everybody.
Huh.
Anyway, something that could actually help markets, though, is FTX, which is the defunct, bankrupt cryptocurrency that, you know, helped the last bear market, to really be super bear markety. They are finally beginning $1.6 billion in payouts to people. That will start tomorrow. It'll take about 1 to 3 days. So if you had money on the FTX exchange that you've been waiting 4 years to get, guess what? You are now going to get cash, or I think it's USDC, but it's stable coins and cash. You'll be sent money. So congrats. Hooray. Took forever, but hey, you got your money. And so that's $1.6 billion. People should get it in 1 to 3 days, as I said, starting tomorrow. So 2 to 4 days. And that could very likely potentially add some buying pressure into markets. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But hey, it's a good positive thing no matter what the markets do, right? People getting their money back is always a good positive thing.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I actually want to go back because we have a couple of questions about.
Ooh.
Go ahead.
But the most important thing this week is the government might shut down on Wednesday.
Yeah,
Just
what's that?
FYI.
Is that a nothing burger?
It's usually always a nothing burger, but like it
Yeah.
scares markets a little bit. And, if the government shuts down on Wednesday, then we won't get our jobs data on Thursday, and we won't get our other data that we're looking at this week. There's nothing too crazy that we're looking to get. We're going to get some home sales data. We're going to get some jobs data and stuff. And, that'll all get delayed. So the stock market might be like, we don't know what's going to happen because we don't have the data. And that usually results in panics if the market, if the government does shut down. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah,
And
It's usually a buying opportunity. Government shutdowns are almost always a buying opportunity.
Every time we come up to it, there's always a new ingredient that is like, well, this time it's personal. And so this time you have our fearless leader saying that he's ready to inflict max pain. Cool. So, there's that, like adding a little bit of extra spice to the whole thing.
There's always someone saying that, though.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, at the end of the day, the only part that I always think about is I was active duty during the lengthy shutdown in his first term, and overall it's more sad than anything, because like we talk about markets, but we don't talk about the very, very real effects that it has on people who work for the government, like active duty military, who we all get that email that's like, hey, dipshit, just so you know, you have to still show up to work. We're not going to pay you and your benefits are suspended. But you better show up or else we will find you. And then you never know, like, well, how long is this going to go? And at one time, people missed several paychecks, and all of a sudden there were food banks on bases because military families who are paycheck to paycheck, because spoiler alert, we don't make very much money. That's the part that pisses me off with this, is we just like, we're playing politics. Meanwhile, like the front lines are just hemorrhaging money and struggling. And I just think the whole thing is stupid. It's embarrassing is what it is.
So the question came for us about the Swift news.
Yes.
How, Apple user wants to know, is it that blockchains build on top of Ethereum? And I've got another analogy for you that actually comes from Tom Jack. Hope I'm saying your name right, buddy. The CIO at Swift. I'm going to extend it and play with it a little, but he compares different blockchain environments to airports. Imagine a really great airport, okay? I'm talking like, LaGuardia or JFK, or, like when I say great, what I mean is not like the customer service is incredible, but like it's got flights everywhere. You could land any kind of plane there. You can get anywhere in the world from there. They've got 1 million runways. That's Ethereum. Ethereum, or any blockchain environment, really is about building the kinds of infrastructure that businesses can build on top of. And in this case, the businesses are, the people, the planes, the Cinnabons, right? A great airport can host many kinds of business, and it can help you find a route to get pretty much anywhere you want to go. Other blockchains might be more niche and specific. Ethereum is the biggest general purpose blockchain that other people can build smart contracts on top of, that more people have flown from or to, that more businesses have built on than any other. It is the JFK of airports. There are airports that, you can go to and just walk on a small plane. You don't even have to go through security. They're fast, they're cheap, whatever. Those might be like the layer 2s built on top of Ethereum, or other layer 1s that cater to separate like niche interests. Maybe there's a closed permissioned airport that you got to be a rich guy or like somebody with security clearance to fly in. Maybe that's like an H bar, right? Where the validator set is controlled by a handful of corporations. But Chainlink is like the air traffic control that helps different airports talk to each other, so that if somebody's building a tokenized real world asset thing on Solana and somebody else is building one on Ethereum, they can have, we would call it interoperability. Make sure that nobody crashes in the sky, make sure pilots are able to share information and things like that. So all these things work together to build this whole like commerce transportation system. And that's what blockchains are. They are infrastructural systems. It is a whole medium that we can build in where people will share information and make meaning about their lives together. Thoughts to add to that, gentlemen? Blockchains as airports, the new analogy.
I think that's a good analogy. I still like the idea of thinking of Ethereum in like, I call them platform cryptos, or you can just call them networks, right? Because they're like that. But I think about it as the like App Store or the Google Play Store, where it's like the Google Play Store or the Apple iStore, whatever it's called for you guys. I'm an Android user. So, sure. It's like that's Ethereum. And then you open up the App Store and you have all of these applications that you can go use. And those are the decentralized applications. That's your Lido Finance. That's your Morpho. Oh, we lost Alex on TikTok. That's your other thing. So your Avalanche is just another version of that Apple App Store. And so is Hedera, and so is Sui, and so is Solana, and all that kind of stuff. And they just have their own little flavors. So that's how I think about them.
This is very helpful.
Yeah, but like not necessarily the same explanation as you gave in terms of like building. I also think just like on the similar topic, I think another way that you can think of blockchains and is really just a decentralized, like every blockchain is just a decentralized Stripe. It's just a decentralized payment rail system. That's all it is, really. If you want to think about it in terms of like how things are built off of it, it's really just a decentralized way to make transactions go back and forth. If in the simplest way, right? If I'm just painting with a broad stroke. If you're thinking in terms of applications and what it does, if you're thinking about it from a technical standpoint, you go, oh, this is just a really secure database that I can see into. And that's it. So when people ask you what a blockchain is, depending on what the context of the conversation is, you can go like, oh, hey, it's a decentralized Stripe. And what that means is like, you can see the payments going back and forth and people can build on it and for whatever purpose that they want. Or if you're talking to someone from a technical standpoint, you're like, oh, it's just it's the most secure type of database that has ever existed. And people can build off of that because that kind of makes sense to people. You go, yeah, people need data to build stuff off of. And this is just a really secure, visible source of data that's super secure to build off of, right? So it's a really easy way to simplify the conversations if you're having them like at a diner or at Thanksgiving, at the Thanksgiving table, right? So take that and run with it. So that's how I always think about blockchains. Not necessarily, I'm kind of adding on what you said, Evan, but well, slight tangent, but I think it's useful.
I do too. Speaking of things that are useful, if you enjoy William Watson's commentary, his analysis, then you should check out Market Watch tonight. Will, you got a special guest tonight. Our friend Yaboyski is coming on the show to do analysis with you and Doug, yeah?
Ooh, that's right. Yeah. I think
that's going to be a good one.
I need to shoot him a text and make sure he can definitely make it. But yeah, he is on the calendar, so we'll have a good time doing some charting and doing some analysis and having a good old grand time of it. So if you guys want to, do deep dives we'll take a look at Bitcoin and altcoins. We'll take a look at the stock market, the Russell. We'll take a look at gold and silver, and we'll take a look at beef, and we'll take a look at coffee, and whatever you guys want us to chart, we'll chart. Yeah.
Are we long beef?
We're always long beef, dude.
Amen, brother.
Beef's been killing it. Amen, beef. Amen, beef.
I did see a couple of questions in the chat that I think would be especially good on Market Watch. Like, does it always dip the crypto market before it goes up in October? And all I know is the answer is traditionally yes.
Yeah, traditionally.
I saw some questions asking for maybe updated TA on Aster, because last time you checked it, you said, I can't do TA on this. And you and Doug touched it last time. I do believe Doug was like, so what if it's 48 hours old? I can chart it.
I can chart it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I posted on Twitter also like my Aster prediction, and I have like a buy zone for it. Not that I mean, like, it would be a good coin to buy in my personal opinion, but like, I'm probably not going to myself. But it's definitely in play. I mean, I would think so, just because you have like your biggest
CZ, baby.
Your most popular trend in crypto right now is projects that make revenue. It's like this new crypto trend, and it's hilarious. People being like, "Yeah, it's really in trend now." I'm like, it never really was it. I mean, like, I get it, but it's a silly thing. And Hyperliquid makes a bunch of revenue and does great and has a great, buyback and burn mechanic, and Aster is just copying that and has CZ backing it. So like, why wouldn't it be successful eventually? So like, yeah, we'll chart it. We can chart it now, particularly because a few more days have gone by. So we'll take a look at all of it, guys, and we'll take a bunch of recommendations from people and all that kind of stuff. Also, Ali, I said, is XRP done now? I doubt it.
No,
I doubt it's done.
Like a cockroach. No. It will persist.
It will persist. I'm sure it'll make a new high at some point because the XRP community refuses to sell, and that helps it go up. And also, I think the XRP ETF is pretty much locked in.
Yeah. They have to go back and consult the texts, though, to find.
They do.
I think XRP justification for this.
Yes.
This betrayal.
Yes. But XRP, I believe, will remain a fantastic coin to trade.
Yeah.
I can see it now. Zach Rector will make a new t-shirt, and there will be a reason. There will be a justification. Why would this happen? Why would it happen this way? It's all part of the big fake out. And then you keep reselling. Then business is normal.
I had no idea that he had such a. I don't really watch him much, but I guess he makes a lot of money from merch, and I feel like we're missing something, guys.
I feel like we're missing something.
I feel like I fell asleep one day and woke up and he had transitioned from the red folder to t-shirts that he drew in Microsoft Paint, and clearly it's working. I mean, they are intricate. Like, he goes all out on his illustrations. So
this is how you know I'm feeling sassy this morning, because I am even instigating the crap talk about other people. Can you believe I've stooped to such a low? Listen, we are about.
But I'm here for it.
To ride our dogs and ponies into the sunset, and they are not our petty ponies; they are our pretty ponies. So if you have a final thought that's going to uplift us and bring us some positivity, we don't need to rain on someone else's parade to shine like the sun or something like that. If you got a prediction, if you got a question, whatever, a suggestion, let us know why you listen to why are you listening to this show? And then
why do you listen to this show? That's a great question.
Let me say to our friends in Australia,
because I'm here,
in South Asia, our
it's friends
in Great Britain, our friends in places around the world that are not where we are. It's morning somewhere, but maybe you have a hard time tuning into the Rise Up Morning Show and you want to know where you can find us. I want to encourage you to check out RUMS, RUMSHQ.com, because right at the top, we have got a button that says join our free educational community with a link to take you to the Rise Up community. It is a great place to get connected with other crypto users, to ask us a question, to find all of our official socials, past episodes, and get so many more benefits through premium memberships. You don't have to spend a dime to come learn with us. That's the place it all starts, though. If you want to get one-on-one time with us, if you want to come to office hours and pick Will's brain or Alex's brain or my brain, if you just want to find your new best friend in a time zone local to you who's also trying to figure out, how do I go deeper in DeFi, or how do I set up a cold storage wallet? That's the place to go. RUMSHQ.com. Hey, hello in Sweden. Hey, hello in New York. Rums
Evan.
HQ. Bearded said it because it's true.
Hello in Vietnam. Or no, good morning, Vietnam. Ah, damn it.
You were so close. I think it's worth noting that the direct link for the community, someone was asking for Discord. Discord the Discord technically exists, but like, I wouldn't, if you're going to join something, join the
Don't
circle.
join the Discord.
That's where the party's at. But all you got to do is community.rumshq.
That's right. It's like a little cheat code. Community.rumshq.com. Community.rumshq. Hello, Vietnam, indeed. And hey, since we're doing our predictions, I got the 8 ball. And do you know what it told me? It says bull run ahead.
It's the perfect time to buy.
So
On what time frame? On what
I
time
would
frame,
love-
Ball? On what
I would
time
love-
frame? Quick,
No,
ask
no,
it
it's-
again. Ask it again.
You don't,
says-
you don't get all that.
it says avoid FOMO. So
That
not sure.
sounds like not short term then.
Yeah. Well,
We should really start writing down, like keeping a running tally of what the 8 ball has
The
said, and
8
try to
ball's right.
calculate how much money the 8 ball would have lost everybody if we all traded off the 8 ball.
Or
also
one.
said Lambo soon. So I don't know.
Or-
And, hey, I also forgot this, guys. You remember a couple of weeks ago when we were making soul predictions, and then just 1 week after that, I lost our soul predictions and couldn't find them.
I was
Well,
going to say, you mean when we all made them, they were all
Yep.
horribly wrong, and we pretended that entire thing didn't happen?
no, we didn't pretend it didn't happen. I just lost
I
the
did.
data, and in fact, you guys were wrong. But I'm here to tell you, you're not going to believe this, but your boy was right. This is a game I did not rig. This is a game that I won fair and square. I'm going to bring up the CoinGecko chart for.
To be fair,
Solana.
we've already talked about how Evan won this, and this is the second time he's now bringing it up.
I don't think we
Remember
talked about it on the air. We haven't talked about
We-
it on the air. We talked about it off the air.
No, I think you just
no,
wanna brag.
I think you
you're
just want to
feeling-
brag. I think you're feeling
think
like a
you're-
sassy little bitch.
I think you're feeling sassy this morning, and you're.
I just want you to know this is where we were a month ago. I mostly bring this up to brag, but I also secondarily bring it up because there is a good lesson in this. That even
Tori says she's heard this already, so that's all.
have you really, Tori? I've really
wrap
talked
it
about
up.
this story.
Come
Did I really
on,
talk about
do
this?
your gloating, and let's move on.
You know that Chappelle show skit where he then has that alarm goes poof, and it's like hurry. No, it's like wrap it up. That was it. The wrap it up skit from the Chappelle show.
Dang, the wrap it up skit.
Wrap it
Okay,
up.
well, our damn. Okay, well,
Damn.
it's hard to entirely get my cursor at the exact right spot here on CoinGecko, but I just want you to know the price is right prediction that was closest to Solana's actual price was Evan at $215. Alex, you said it was going to be 190. Will, you said it was going to be 203. But could any of us really have predicted that it was going to be right back at that price like a week ago after going up and then down and then up and then down and then up? I think the answer is mostly nobody has any idea what's going to happen. Even when our predictions are accurate and we get to brag about it, we are not able to tell the future. So the best thing to do is to make a plan. It's going to go up, it's going to go down, it's going to go sideways. And if it moves, you can make money on it. And if you have a plan, you will sleep better at night. So that's the thought I want to leave you with, as well as the fact that, like, if you're going to make a bet on one of us, just bet on me, baby. You guys have a final thought?
Not anymore.
No, but my final thought is the white whale has reposted the tweet from the block that says Swift to work with Consensys on blockchain prototype for cross-border payments, and his repost was, so XRP has zero use case, like I've always said.
No.
Got him.
My retweet was that they are back at the drawing board reconsulting the texts.
Reconsulting the text.
Update incoming.
Yeah.
Update coming.
Let me know, XRP people. Let me know.
Oh my gosh. That's fantastic. A couple of last minute questions from the audience. Aaron asks, do you invest in ETH? Yes. Tori says winners only. AI says, I can't believe I just sold my XRP. And Tori also says, I'm only listening to Evan from now on.
Rude.
Thank you very much. Alex, have you got a final thought for us today?
No. Nope.
My dad.
There you go.
killed Your dad.
Or
I will absolutely die on this hill.
okay, Will, what about you? Before we ride our dogs and ponies, the last thought truly.
I mean, you guys are going to hear a lot more of my thoughts on the markets and stuff tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the Monday night episode of Market Watch. If you are on the Tiki-Talkie, talking to you people over here, you shall find me on my TikTok at 8 p.m. And it'll be myself, Doug, and Yaboyski. So I'll make sure that he is able to make the time still. So we'll be talking about markets. It'll be a good time. And then
Hey,
also,
normies.
I am going to begin a very fun content creation project this Saturday. And I'm very excited for it. And it's also costing quite a bit of money. So hopefully you all like it and you better reshare. It won't be posted for a while, though.
That means
You guys-
costumes.
No. There actually aren't any costumes. But there's a very large whiteboard in a factory that I rented out. And by factory, I
A
mean
whole factory?
Yeah, baby.
I know what this is.
Yeah, you know what this is.
Okay.
Yeah. It's actually just a part of a factory that I rented out. But I'm gonna have a good time. But that's it. No, anyway, I'll talk to you guys more later tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Come in, hang out, ask questions, ask us what charts to chart, and we'll give it a crack.
You'll be there. Doug will be there in the bathroom, and your boy Ski will be joining the show. Christina says, riveting.
You know what I was going to say? I do have a final thought. I think it's funny how much crap we've given Doug, pun intended, for always streaming from a bathroom.
Yeah.
But now my new office, the main entryway does not have a door. It has an opening, and I did not put this here, but I feel like I've manifested it by making too much fun of Doug. That's literally a shower curtain.
Wow.
Oh,
So-
yeah. Wow.
Sorry, Doug.
We could get Doug a shower curtain. I'm still on the quest. If anybody
I'm
has
gonna
a
send him this
hand
one.
dryer or like a soap dispenser,
I don't even want a hand dryer. I want like a really crappy Google stock image of a hand dryer that's
Like-
printed out on a regular piece of paper and just like taped on the wall right behind him. That's what I want.
Yeah.
well, if you've got ideas for remodeling our bathroom, if you've got hand dryers or further predictions about how many Bitcoin tokens we have, you're going to have to leave them on another show. You can find all the links to our past shows,
Not
our
enough.
free community at rumshq.com. Until next time, my friends, thank you for being the very best part of what we do. Everybody, stay safe, be well, and until next time, rise up.